Hello everyone, thanks for clicking on to the convective weather radio forecast. I'm forecaster Nathan Kitchens. We have picked up a lot of rain across portions of Texas during the day yesterday. Houston, Texas officially saw 11 inches of rain over the past 24 hours. The city has been under a flash flood emergency. We had 35 plus sections of highway closed in the metropolitan area because of all the flooding. And Austin, Texas is yet another area that saw extensive flash flooding during the day yesterday. And just looking at the accumulated rainfall over the past 24 hours, we have seen incredible amounts of rain in this area. You can see anywhere in the red, that's where we had 3 inches or more of rain. Once you get into this dark red, that's where we got 4 to 5 inches or more. And pink here represents 6 inches or more of rain. And where you get into this purple, that's where we've had 8 inches or more of rain. And in some of these areas, near a foot of rain during the day yesterday. So we saw extensive flash flooding across these areas. And we did share some very impressive, incredible footage on our Facebook page and on our website. So be sure to check that out of the flash flooding in Austin, Texas, and even the flash flooding from this weekend in portions of Oklahoma. Oklahoma City broke their record for the wettest May on record for them. So a very, very wet weekend and what's been a very wet month for these areas. And looking at the River Forecast Center, the flood stages for the various rivers and streams, a lot of these rivers are seeing moderate to major flood stage reached at these gauges here. And I pulled up the hydrograph for the Blanco River at Wimberley, Texas. Now this is incredible. We saw the flood stage on Sunday morning get up to 40.21 feet. The flood stage for this river is 13 feet. So we more than tripled the flood stage for this river here in Wimberley, Texas. The record flood stage is 33.3 feet, so we broke that record for the highest flood stage ever recorded at this gauge here at the Blanco River at Wimberley, Texas. And it's just really incredible stuff, and you can imagine the kind of flooding that we saw along this river. Trees that were once aligned along this river are gone, washed away completely. There were homes that were washed away because of the very, very high waters. And just very devastating for these areas over the past several days, as the flooding has been absolutely extensive and major for these areas. And many people out of their homes. And let's look at the national radar. Looking at the setup this evening, we do have showers and storms continuing across. This is the same system that pushed through yesterday, bringing that heavy rain and all that flash flooding. It's now pushed eastward. Now through, we're seeing this impulse pushing through from the Gulf Coast states, showers and storms, moving through Atlanta, Georgia, right here at the rush hour time frame. Not a good time. Tennessee, Nashville also getting in on storms here in the evening rush hour. Not good either. Through Louisville, seeing some showers and storms, and east of there, east of Indianapolis towards the Ohio state line, getting in on some storms, and also some showers and storms pushing up into Wisconsin and Michigan. We are watching the potential for some severe storms in this area as well. And then also here in portions of Oklahoma and Texas, we have storms starting to flare up here in central Oklahoma, and a storm starting to show up in Texas as well. We have a couple of tornado watches starting to come out here in portions of Texas. And if I go to the National Weather Service homepage, we have a severe thunderstorm watch in the pink here from Michigan through portions of eastern Indiana and Ohio. We have a tornado watch here in the yellow, where we do have the atmosphere is capable of producing a few tornadoes. And in fact, as of this videotaping, we have a tornado warning just now issued for just southwest of Graham, Texas here in the red. This would be for, what county would this be? It says located near Crystal Falls. It's located in northern Stevens County. So we are watching the potential for maybe a tornado and a storm. And we're going to continue to see more storms developing throughout the evening hours. Now, as we look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for this evening, we'll be watching for that slight risk for severe storms in this area from, if I can get it up here, from the Great Lakes region through Indiana and Ohio. But really, Indiana is just about out of the risk now. That risk is going to be from Ohio through Michigan this evening, and again to our southwest from across the plains from southwest or far southern Kansas, a good part of central Oklahoma, and central Texas. Those are the areas where we could see storms flaring up this evening. Now, the main threats here in the Great Lakes from Ohio through Michigan, your main threats will be damaging winds. I did look at some of the soundings, and it does look like there's going to be enough turning of winds with height that there could be a couple spin-ups, brief tornadoes, but I think damaging winds by far by far will be your main threats here, and not widespread either, but certainly damaging winds are possible in these storms. The actual criteria is 58 miles per hour or greater for a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued. Now, as we look at the severe weather risk across the southern plains, here we're going to have the potential for damaging winds and large hail, and we do have the potential for a few tornadoes as well. That's why they did issue the tornado watch, as they do feel conditions do favor potential for a few tornadoes to develop this evening. So definitely want to keep a very close eye on the sky, and definitely make sure you have a way to receive warnings and heed those warnings throughout the evening hours. Let's look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model. We'll look at these storms continuing to develop this evening. First we'll look at the Midwest. We've had those storms pushing into, as of right now, here's a look at the map as of right now, doing a pretty good job on the setup here. This is now pushing into eastern Indiana and Ohio. There's lines of storms, and also lines of storms pushing into Michigan as well. As we go into 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, you can see storms continuing to push east into Ohio and farther north into central Michigan and the Detroit area, and Saginaw, Michigan getting in on these storms once we get towards 6, 7, 8 o'clock this evening. And here is the map by 8 o'clock Eastern Time. You can see most of the activity is starting to push through central and eastern Ohio. Again, you see the linear signature here. That's definitely, we need to watch for some damaging winds there. But as we lose the daytime heating and this impulse pushes to the east, we're going to continue to see a lower and lower chance of severe storms. Now shifting towards the southern plains, where we're also watching for severe storms this evening. Storms are quickly blossoming. Over the past, really the past 30 minutes, I've really seen the radar starting to light up with more in the way of showers and storms. And going through the evening, we're going to continue to see an increase in storms across central Texas. And as we get through, this is a map by 4 o'clock Central Time, showers and storms erupting across central Texas and portions of Oklahoma. And again, we have a tornado watch in place here. And heading into 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock Central Time, showers and storms continuing to progress to the south and the east. And throughout the evening hours, it's going to be very active across this area. So definitely keep an eye on the sky and make sure you heed these warnings, as we could see some tornado warnings, more tornado warnings in place and severe thunderstorm warnings in place throughout the evening hours as these storms continue to erupt. This is not a major outbreak, not by any means, but a few severe storms are going to be pretty likely in this area throughout the evening hours. Let's look at the threat for Wednesday. As we head into tomorrow, once again, we'll be watching areas from western Kansas through southern, or I should say western portions of Oklahoma, and into the parts of the panhandle of Texas here. This is where we could see a few more severe storms on Wednesday. And a pretty large area under a marginal threat for severe storms on Wednesday. We're going to have a humid air mass in place through these areas. Across the marginal risk area, the main threats will be for some gusty winds and maybe some small hail in some instances. We're not expecting any widespread severe weather, and really these storms will probably stay below that severe weather criteria in that marginal risk. So that's why we just put a marginal risk here. That's where we could see storms, but generally speaking, it should stay mainly below that severe weather criteria. Now, looking at the computer model, the NAM computer model for tomorrow, watching how things will set up. First, we'll push through. This is the map for tonight, watching those storms in the Great Lakes and also the Southern Plains. Now, here's the map by 7 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow morning. You can see we do have some showers and storms across portions of Arkansas and Oklahoma. And then, as we head throughout the day tomorrow, here's the map by 1 o'clock Central Time. See some storms, showers and storms through from the Rockies, from Montana right down to portions of Nebraska and Kansas and Oklahoma, getting on some storms. Also some showers and storms showing up across portions of Mississippi and Louisiana and Arkansas. And going forward through tomorrow afternoon and evening, more humidity out here. Tomorrow we're going to see showers and storms blossoming across portions of the south tomorrow afternoon and evening. Once again, very heavy rain. Could see some gusty winds with these storms meeting the main threats, and a lot of lightning as well. And we'll be watching these storms developing here, front range of the Rockies and into portions of Oklahoma and southern Kansas. This is where we do have that risk for a few severe storms tomorrow evening. So this area right in here is where we are going to be watching for a few severe storms late tomorrow afternoon and throughout your Wednesday evening. And you can see just numerous showers and storms possible across the lower Ohio Valley and the portions of the Appalachians here. And you can see the NAM model is showing potential for some pretty good storms across portions of western Pennsylvania and parts of upstate New York tomorrow evening. And now as we head into Thursday, let's look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook on Thursday. Right now they just have a marginal threat in place in the dark green. I would not be surprised if some areas are upgraded to a slight risk as confidence increases for storms on Thursday. But a pretty large area under a marginal threat on Thursday, and also a pretty large area where we could see general thunderstorms developing during the day on Thursday. Now going back to the NAM computer model, numerous showers and storms will be possible across central portions of the country on Thursday. This is a map by Thursday afternoon. Numerous showers and storms across the central U.S. and also areas such as Montana and into Wyoming and Colorado getting in on some showers and storms. And also New England could see a few showers and storms on Thursday up here across portions of Maine. That'd be about it though. And heading into Thursday evening, we're going to be watching these storms. This is where we have a marginal threat for some stronger storms across the central U.S. and also down here towards where we don't need to rain across portions of Texas and maybe even Oklahoma as well. And heading into Friday, we're going to see a good chance of showers and storms across the central U.S. We're going to see this frontal boundary setting up here across the upper Midwest. This will be a focal point for showers and storms to really fire up Friday afternoon and Friday evening. Too early to tell if we'll see any widespread severe weather out of this, but we'll see this area of high pressure across portions of the Canadian prairies. This will push into the upper Midwest by the time we get into Friday evening. This will help suppress this front a little farther to the south as we head towards Friday night and even into the day on Saturday. Now as we look at the setup as we head into the weekend, this is the Weather Prediction Center surface map by the time we get into Saturday morning. There's that frontal boundary I talked about is now pushed down towards the Great Lakes and into portions of here in portions of central Missouri, right down through portions of the southern plains. We have this big area of high pressure now pushing into the upper Midwest. And as we head throughout the day on Saturday, this front will be the focal point for showers and storms from the southern Great Lakes through the Ohio Valley and into portions of the southern plains and also through New England. It's going to be in that very warm, humid air mass with chance for some showers and storms to develop, especially with daytime heating. And as we head into Sunday, we're going to see this area of high pressure taking over the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes is going to be beautiful on Sunday as this drier and cooler air pushes in, associated with this cool area of high pressure. This front we'll have a cold front stalled out here across from southern Indiana through portions of New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and down here into the southern plains. Area south of that front, along and south of that front, is where we're going to see the chance for showers and storms once again on Sunday. Then once we get into Monday, perhaps another wave developing along this boundary, producing more showers and storms from the Ohio Valley and down into the southern portion of the country. Now let's look at the GFS computer model for this weekend. We will have that threat for some showers and storms from New England down through portions of the low Ohio Valley on Saturday. As we go forward here, Saturday afternoon, here's the frontal boundary. The frontal boundary will be setting up right and through here. We're going to see numerous showers and storms developing, a very warm and humid air mass ahead of the front, and much cooler and drier air behind the front. And as we head into Sunday, that front shifts a little farther to the south. The main focus will be from the southern, from the lower Ohio Valley down through the south region of the country, while the Great Lakes and portions of the central U.S. kind of quiet down a little bit as we head into Sunday. And then as we head into early next week, this area of high pressure shifts off to the east, and we'll see a threat for showers and storms returning across portions of the southern Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley heading into Monday and Tuesday. Let's look at temperatures over the next several days, how temperatures will be shaping up. First, I'll show you the NAM's forecast on the temperatures over the next several days. We will be seeing very warm temperatures continuing across New England, where it's been very warm as of late. Temperatures this afternoon did reach up into the middle to upper 80s across New England, 70s here across a good part of the central part of the country. And one thing you will notice over the next several days, we're going to see an increasing amount of heat across the western U.S., where it hasn't been all that warm. Going forward through the day on Wednesday, here's a look at your high temperatures on Wednesday. Once again, many areas here in the 80s across the central and southern U.S. and right up into the northeast. Cooler here across portions of the Intermountain West. And we're going to see increasing heat across portions of the southwest. You can see by tomorrow we're starting to see some lower 90s developing in portions of southern New Mexico and southern Texas, right through southern Arizona into southeast California. And heading into Thursday, our temperatures here. High temperatures will be getting back into the 80s across a good part of the central U.S., right up into the northeast, staying in this warm pattern. And you will also notice Thursday afternoon, more 90s starting to show up through the California and portions of southern Arizona, getting in on some lower 90s by the time we get into Thursday afternoon. And also Portland, Oregon through Seattle will be looking very warm as well. Portland, Oregon will have the potential to get up into the 80s during this time. And heading into Friday, and that more warmth setting up across the southwest U.S. You can see 97 is what it's showing here on Friday here across the Central Valley of California here, looking very hot, and hot weather expected across portions of Arizona and southern New Mexico. We'll continue to stay in this warm and humid air mass across the Ohio Valley and down through the south and through New England. We're in areas ahead of this frontal boundary will stay very warm. But once we get through the weekend, we'll watch as this frontal boundary begins to move off towards the south. And that will bring cooler temperatures by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday across the upper Midwest. In fact, check out these lows on Saturday morning. It's going to be very cool across the upper Midwest. You can see some 30s showing up here across the upper Midwest, and you have a very sharp gradient here along this frontal boundary where you can see the sharp gradient setting up. That's where that frontal boundary will be. And heading into Saturday afternoon, you can see a very tight temperature gradient setting up. Areas south and east of that boundary very warm and humid. Areas northwest of the boundary are going to be on that cooler and drier side of things on Saturday. And heading into Sunday, that front shifts a little farther south. You can see that cooler and drier air shifting a little farther south now. But we'll stay in a very warm and humid air mass across the southern half of the country as the front kind of stalls out here as we head into Sunday. And here's a look at your forecast temperatures as we head into Monday. Looking a little bit cooler across to New England, so we'll see a little bit of cool down for those areas. Warming back up again across the central U.S., and the southern U.S. will stay in the heat. Unfortunately, no break for you guys with the heat, as that front will never make it that far south. And heading into Tuesday, the heat kind of builds again, with even some 90s showing up on the GFS across the central U.S. and increasing heat even across the central and eastern part of the country heading into Wednesday and into Thursday of next week. And also, before I end this video forecast, I do want to show you we've been dealing with a very wet pattern across the central and southern plains, and I did want to offer a little bit of encouragement and hope in this video forecast that there may be a pattern change coming later on next week, heading into early June. We may we may be looking at somewhat of a pattern change for you guys here. I'm looking at the 500 millibar, the mid-level spin on the GFS computer model. And going forward here, you can see that impulse that pushed through at a vorticity maximum that's helped to trigger these showers and storms this afternoon and this evening across the from the Tennessee Valley through portions of Indiana and into the Great Lakes region. And heading into Thursday and Friday, we have more disturbances, more areas of energy pushing through the central U.S. And what I wanted to really show you is, let's go all the way into next week. Going into Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday of next week, we're going to see some changes showing up here. We have a ridge. That's a ridge trying to show up here across the southwest U.S., extending into portions of Texas. This will be by Friday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week. That's when we're really focusing on the potential for a pattern change across this area that's been so wet. This ridge could provide a much-needed break and pattern change. It could provide drier weather for portions of Oklahoma and Texas and stretching out into the southwest U.S. here, New Mexico. So the GFS is definitely showing that. You can also notice right here, this is a tropical cyclone in the eastern Pacific. The models have been hinting at for a long time now. Now, that tropical cyclone might be just what we need to break this pattern and potentially bring a much-needed break for some of these areas that have been inundated with very heavy rain over the past several weeks. So at least there is some hope showing up in the long-range models. Let's hope this holds out and continues. Keep your fingers crossed. That is your latest weekly video forecast. Thanks for watching.